Dr. Kevin Eggers, author, TV host, and creator of Marriage Partners Ministry. Tonight he will be speaking for 8 to 10 minutes on marital sensitivities. Marital sensitivities, Kevin Eggers.
Thank you. Magic gavel. Yeah, guys, so tonight I wanted for us to have a conversation about marital sensitivities. So to start off with, just to kind of define this, what exactly is a marital sensitivity? What does that mean? I think the best way is just to give you a few examples. So I'll start with our reference couple, Eric and Jill. And Eric and Jill, they went to a party. They got all dressed up. It was one of those parties that's really upper class, a lot of visiting, maybe a little bit of wine. Not going to be a whole lot of entertainment, just going to be conversational. And Eric, he likes to tell these jokes that Jill's a little bit sensitive about. And he's not a racist person. He doesn't intend anything bad about different races or people type or anything like that. But in his humor, he mixes race into it. And he finds that to be humorous. Jill, she becomes really offended when he tells those kinds of jokes, particularly in public, in a setting that's supposed to be kind of upper class and kind of fancy. So that's one of those marital sensitivities. Another one is when Eric and Jill, they went shopping. And they had a nice day at the mall, and Jill held up a shirt, and she says, Eric, what do you think of this shirt? Do you like this? And he says, yeah, it's a nice shirt. But the seam there, it's kind of in on the shoulder. It's a little bit narrow on the shoulders. Oh, okay. So they went about their shopping, and he noticed she was pretty quiet almost the whole rest of the shopping trip. Later on that afternoon, she went over to her girlfriend's house, and she was gone for a while. Then Eric got a call from her girlfriend, and her girlfriend said, why did you call Jill effing fat? And Eric says, what? What are you talking about? I didn't say anything like that. I don't swear, and I certainly didn't call her fat. What are you talking about? So a little bit later on, Eric and Jill had a conversation, and Jill had a real sensitivity to anything even approaching weight. And the idea of shoulders being a little on the narrow side greatly offended her. It terribly hurt her feelings. So Eric discovered that she had a sensitivity in that area. Another time when they were out dancing, they loved to go dancing. In fact, when they first met, they were dancing. One of the things that Jill loved about Eric was he was so outgoing. He was friendly, he would smile, he would talk with people. That's how they met. Eric just walked right up, struck up a conversation with her, and he was so cool, calm, and collected that she felt comfortable talking with a perfect stranger. And so that characteristic she really loved about him. But then as they were married for a number of years, and they would go out and they would go dancing and have a few drinks at the local bar, and Eric was just as friendly with everybody. Guys, ladies, old, young, it didn't matter. But Jill didn't like that, especially when he was friendly with one of the younger, good-looking gals. And it really bothered her. And she just kind of think to herself, well, I shouldn't let this bother me. He's just friendly with everybody. Yet she was terribly, terribly jealous about it. And that is another one of those marital sensitivities that they were kind of bumped up against. You know, I want to take a second and define marital sensitivity. Why didn't I just call it a sensitivity? Why don't I call it an emotional sensitivity? Why do I call it a marital sensitivity? Because that sensitivity greatly impacts marriage. Now it's up to you if it's going to impact it in a good way or a bad way. So think about it. How are you going to handle that sensitivity? Are you going to be kind to your spouse that has a sensitivity? Are you going to work around it? Are you going to wrap that sensitivity in a bubble wrap of love and care and consideration? It's a perfect opportunity. If your spouse is jealous or they have some kind of sensitivity, it's a perfect opportunity to have an expression of care for them, to show them that you love them, to show them that you care about the sensitivity and that you want them to be comfortable. So that's why it's a marriage-changing opportunity. You could do the opposite too. You could tell them, hey, that's your problem to deal with. That's your issue. That's not mine. That's your previous history. That's not mine. You shouldn't, bring that into our current relationship. And all these shoulds don't really change much, because if a person's sensitive and you hit that sensitivity, whether it should or shouldn't be there, they're still going to be hurt. So the cause of the sensitivity really doesn't matter. It's really not even worthwhile digging into. In the case of Eric and Jill, see, Jill had a prior boyfriend, and the prior boyfriend cheated on her several times. I mean, think about the emotional trauma of that. Being cheated on, being, abandoned and thrown aside, and just the incredible torment and pain that would come from something like that. I mean, that will give anybody a sensitivity if you think about it, right? But you see, when Eric says, hey, you really shouldn't, I'm not that guy. You shouldn't bring that into our marriage. I should be able to talk with people if I want to. I don't mean anything by it. And he might even get Jill to buy into that philosophy. Meanwhile, every single time she's feeling that jealousy, she's feeling that pain, feeling that discomfort, it's coming at a cost. And the cost is romantic love in their marital relationship. You see, Eric's not a jerk. When he says that's your responsibility, that's your thing to work through, that's your issue, you'll just grow through it or whatever. He's not a jerk. He's not mean. There's probably a better way to handle it. And I'm not going to tell Eric that his philosophy is wrong or it's right, but I will tell him it doesn't work in marriage. It hurts marriage. It doesn't help the marriage. And it's very important to understand how Eric was growing up. See, Eric grew up in a home where personal responsibility was very important. And there was a lot of kids in his family, and his mom and dad couldn't give him a lot of attention. So he had a lot of independence. Go out and play, go have fun with your friends. A lot of independence. And so Eric's philosophy was, I take care of myself, you take care of yourself. That's just the way that it should be. If I got any emotional problem, it's my problem. I'm just going to deal with it. That's how it should be. And if you got a problem, you should just deal with it. That's how it should be. And there's a lot of people out there that are just exactly like that. It's just a philosophy. The philosophy is not wrong or right. It just doesn't work. So I want to encourage you guys tonight that, if you have that philosophy, just think about it. Just ask yourself, does it work? Or is it a little bit better to bubble wrap my spouse's sensitivities, to look at it as an opportunity to show care, to show kindness. And I know that there's going to be some people, probably not in this room, but maybe out in TV land, that say, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but if I just let my spouse, kind of grow, they will grow through that, they'll get tougher, they'll get a tougher skin, it's not my responsibility to have to watch out for every little thing. And I want to encourage you to think about it this way. Everything we do impacts our spouse. Everything. Positively or negatively. I want you to think about it this way. I'm going to change the storyline a little bit here. Does anybody here in this room have sensitive teeth to coldness? Anybody at all? Okay. So if you bite into like a cold ice cream cone, it just throbs, it hurts, right? Really bad. Does for me. Does it hurt really bad for you guys?
That's what it is. Not necessarily ice cream, but yeah.
Okay. So for those who don't experience that, who they can bite into something cold, doesn't bother them a bit, they don't have a sensitivity to cold, they have a very difficult time understanding how that could hurt so badly because they don't experience it themselves. In fact, when they see somebody bite into something cold, they're like, oh man, that hurt so bad. They have a tendency to think you're overreacting. You're just being overly sensitive. It doesn't hurt that bad. You're just being dramatic, And that's just because they don't experience it for themselves. But you see, if I made you bite into something cold and it really hurt, and I did that every week, after a few months, you're just going to see me walk into the room. And it's not going to be a conscious decision. but your stomach's going to turn. Your subconscious is just going to start going crazy. It's going to say, get away from that person. They bring pain into your life. And it destroys romantic love. The same thing is true if we keep bumping into our spouse's sensitivities and we keep hurting them. It really doesn't matter if I have a right to or not, wrong or right. I'm going to be destroying romantic love in that relationship. And their subconscious mind is going to say, get away from that guy. He brings hurt into our life, right? So I hope I've encouraged you tonight to take a view of your spouse's marital sensitivities. Look at it as a prime opportunity. Look at it as a good thing. It's a perfect chance to have a showing of care for them. And if you found this valuable tonight, I want to encourage you to share it with some friends, to share the video with some friends. And remember, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. Thank you.
Great job. He's right. The longer you're married, it seems like the more of those sensitivities you learn. You also